What's cracking, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. New video. In this video today, I want to address a question that's been asked a few times. And I have to assume that those that are asking this question are probably not from California and definitely haven't been incarcerated here. The question is, which prison is worse? San Quentin or Pelican Bay? San Quentin. San Quentin is California's oldest prison. San Quentin has an extremely violent, extremely bloody history. I remember being told the difference between San Quentin and Old Folsom was this. San Quentin had a ridiculous amount of stabbings. But in Old Folsom, when they hit you, they killed you. The likelihood of you surviving a hit in Old Folsom was pretty low. San Quentin, there were so many dudes, and there were younger dudes. Old Folsom, you had to be 33 years and older to be housed there at one point. So San Quentin was more of the younger guys trying to prove themselves. And back then you had all the factions out there. It was a bloodbath. And so there's a lot of movies about San Quentin. There's a lot of stories about San Quentin. Now, Pelican Bay. Pelican Bay is, with the shoe, the most state-of-the-art prison that California has. It was one of the first supermax prisons built in the whole United States. It's made up of 4 facilities. You have A and B facilities, which are GP mainlines. And then you had C and D facilities, which were the shoe, which housed all of California's, what they say, shot callers, the big 4, the worst of the worst. And those that were housed in the shoe, when their shoe was up, if they didn't have an indeterminate shoe term, when their shoe term was up, the vast majority were sent to A facility or B facility. So when we have this question posed, we're talking about California's oldest prison versus California's most high-tech prison. But the reality is this. In 1994, the old prisons, the old style prisons, the old design, San Quentin, Old Folsom, Soledad, I think even Tracy, these prisons had, their custody level was reduced. They were no longer level 4s, which is the maximum security, the highest security there is in California, right? Because those old prisons had way too many blind spots, they were relying on correctional officers to walk their gun rails and keep track of who's on the tier. And there's, like, San Quentin has 5 tiers. The 180 design prisons, starting with Tehachapi, CCI Tehachapi, which has made the news several times recently. Most popular story recently was R&B singer / rapper Tory Lanez being air flighted after being stabbed 14 times in CCI Tehachapi. That was the first 180 design prison built, 1986. And when they built it, they made some mistakes. And then next was, I believe it was New Folsom, then Corcoran, then they went up, right? The new 180 designs by 1994 were designated Level 4, 180 design, shoe kickout yards. The shoe was Corcoran shoe and Pelican Bay shoe. Again, once you were done with your term in the shoe, if you didn't have an indeterminate shoe, you went to one of the 5 180 yards at the time. You couldn't be a maximum security prison and be housed in San Quentin. So the level of violence immediately changed. Once they got all the level 4 lifers, life withouts, guys with nothing to lose, guys with no hope, guys with hatred in their heart, guys who had given up, which make up a lot of the level 4 yards. Once they got them out of San Quentin was no longer in the running as being one of California's deadliest prisons. If I remember right at the time, it went from a level 4 to a level 2 prison. Old Folsom, if I remember right, went from a level 4 to a level 3 prison. Pelican Bay remained a level 4 and has to this day. When it comes to history of prisons, there's no comparison. San Quentin is probably about 200 years old. More people died in Old Folsom and San Quentin than in any prisons in California. Pelican Bay was opened up at the end of 1989. It has been very violent since its inception. There have been riots. There have been murders. There have been suicides. And so if we go from 1989, from the day that Pelican Bay opened till now, there's no comparison. But if we're talking about the histories of the prisons, then it would go to San Quentin when comparing the two. So for me, there's no doubt. When comparing the two, Pelican Bay is by far worse. I did a lot of years in Pelican Bay. And people can argue that High Desert, Kern Valley are more dangerous than Pelican Bay. And they could have an argument. But what I always tell people is this. Prisons like Pelican Bay and New Folsom, they've been around longer than High Desert and Kern Valley. They're more established. And so when you have a newer prison, of course it's going to be rowdier. And when you have prisons that, put it like this, New Folsom is in Sacramento, right there by the Capitol. Well, it's in Represa. Pelican Bay had an FBI office in it for a very long time. High Desert, it's in the middle of nowhere. And a lot of people say the good old boys run it, and they run it very foul. It's very, very dangerous there. Kern Valley is in the same county as CCI Tehachapi, and they're known to run their own program. But this video is about the two, San Quentin and Pelican Bay. And again, in my opinion, by far, Pelican Bay is more dangerous and worse. That's my video for today. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Everybody, please be safe, be smart, and tell the ones you love that you love them. I'm out of here.